Welcome back to Shapes. We are going to look at another version of the Make Anything machine today. I'm going to lay it out quite a bit different than I did the first one, just to see which one we like better, and then maybe make another version after that. I've been playing around with a couple changes. This is the shape delivery system I'm working on. These four filters here, these four here, are just tied to this button right here. And that's basically just a manual release so that I can store up a whole bunch of shapes, press the button, and it releases them to these two belts onto four belts because they're backed up into storage. Right now it's not really an issue. We only need 8 per second. These are each capable of doing 16 per second, so two full belts would be 32 per second. With stockpiling them in storage, I can deliver them at 64 per second, so that should hold us for a while. These two sets of filters here and here with garbage cans are basically just checking the shape to make sure it's what the hub is requesting. If not, it throws it away. That prevents the odd shapes, the transition shapes between when the hub changes shapes. It has a whole bunch of miscellaneous shapes it creates. That prevents those from getting stuck in the storage, as well as this empties out the storage after the next shape is requested. We can see it in action real quick. If I press this button, it releases all the shapes. It will quickly meet this goal. Maybe. There we go. And see, you can see it's emptying out the storage, and it's also clearing out the belt here. Once the new shape that meets the hub's demands are there, it'll let them through into the storage, and then we can just leave this on for now. I was just playing around with it to see if I can get 64 per second. So we'll just leave that on for now, let it do its thing. And then I also had to make a bypass over here. So this right here is a bypass. This shape right here. Basically what it's checking is, we'll go here. This is the requested color shape right now. If it matches gray, it opens up this filter, which basically lets it skip the painter here. So if it's gray, it's requesting gray, it'll open up this filter, which will let this shape flow up to the top here and go through. And that way, if we have an unpainted shape, it will not get clogged up in the filter or in the painter. On to today's mission, we are going to work on the next version of the MAM. I have been playing around with some setups down here. My first thought was to create some kind of bus system here with basically all four shapes coming down and then offloading them into storage so that I can basically stockpile shapes so I can supply less than shape that is needed. So that if let's say we're supplying 4 full belts of here, and like this shape right here, it requires, well, it only requires 3 stars, 2 squares. So this one's relatively easy to do. But if we had one that was requesting, say, 8 stars, and we only supplying 4 stars, if I had these storages stockpiled with stuff, it should keep up temporarily with the demand and allow us to supply a little less material. It'll be kind of a variable speed MAM at that point, but we'll see how it goes. But the thing I don't like about this is now I have 11 belts coming into these storage, 1 for each color, 1 for each shape. So it takes up quite a bit of room just for this little painter thing. So I moved on to my second design, which is down here. Whereas I put the storages right off the main bus here. So it'll fill this up. This filter here will be attached to the hub shape, and it'll only let the shape through if it's being requested. And that way we can condense all 4 of these lines here onto one line right here. So that way it'll just pick which shape it wants, let it onto this belt here and here. And we'll do the same thing with the color. I think I'm just going to do, since I'm going to have 7 different colors, we are going to do just 2 belts of each color to save some room. I think that should work. But we will do 4 belts, full belts of each semi-quadrant, each quadrant of the shape. So in this way we can really condense it. All we'll need here is a painter and a stacker, and that will basically complete the make anything machine. So let me get it laid out real quick and then we will go over it. This is layer 1 of the shape. Let's take a quick look. We have 4 sets of belts, 1 for each shape, and then 7 sets of belts over here, 1 for each color. So these are all attached to filters, which will let the correct color through. Then we just have a painter over here and finally a stacker. So it's relatively straightforward. Most of it is actually just the material bus coming in. We can take a look at the wires layer. This is our virtual on stacker. So you can see it basically separates out. This is the current shape being requested. This is the shape we're going to work on for layer 1. So it sends it down to here. This comes down, wraps around into here, which is just an analyzer. It sends the color off to the color section and the shape off to the shape section. Then we just have to cut it and rotate it and cut it again so that we have access to the top right quadrant. And then it sends it to these filters here, which are on the 4 belts each for each shape. So it'll let the correct shape through the filter. Then it rotates this shape and does the same thing. Analyzes it, says what color it is over here, and rotates it and slices it so we get the top right corner. This color portion here actually comes down and goes over to here. This is the bypass that we talked about earlier. It basically says if this is gray, open up this filter and let it bypass the painters. So pretty straightforward. And it just copies this down 4 times, rotates it each time. I have brought in some test shapes just to make sure it works before we copy this. We are now at level 50, so it is requiring 3 layers instead of 2. Let's go ahead and just bring this in. And it should let some of the squares through here and there. So it is working. Just to make sure, let's bring in the stars shape. Letting the star shapes in there. And we can bring in the color just to make sure it's working. It's going to take a while to buffer the system up with all these storages. I think the storages might be overkill, but I can always delete them if I need to. So we just got to wait and see if color comes through here, which it looks like it's not. This is green, this is green. Why is it not letting it through? Oh, it is lit. Certainly looks like it's letting it through. I have my tunnels incorrect. So I will go through and fix that real quick. Okay, that's all fixed up. The wiring appears to be working. We have our shape being stacked over here. And this is a shape that's creating. If we compare that to what we're requesting, it's this shape right here. So it is working, so all we have to do is copy this setup down. I'm going to copy it down 4 times just so we are ready for the 4 layers. So I'll actually copy it down 3 times. And then I have to bring in all the shapes and colors. So that'll take a little bit of time. But we will have a much cleaner factory than over here, because over here we did all the cutting and stuff in place, but we were wasting 3/4 of the shape by doing it this way. So here we will cut the shapes out in the wild and just bring them into the bus here. So it'll be a little less organized out in the wild, but more organized in the factory. Okay, we have it up and running now. It is requesting this shape here. This requires a ton of stars, so we are burning through some of the storage. You can see I'm not providing enough stars, but the storage is providing the extra boost for what we did. And then once the next shape kicks in, hopefully the stars will be able to restock the storage, as hopefully the next shape won't request a ton of. So we have to see what something's holding it up here. Must be out of something. Let's see, what are we out of? We're out of yellow paint. Yeah, so yellow paint hasn't stockpiled yet. So we will have to, that's the bad part about all these storages, is it's going to take forever to buffer up. Once it buffers up, it should be fine, but it is going to take a long time. Let it run for a little bit, and it is working much better. We are going through the shapes at a decent speed. The difference is this is only one belt, so this is only good up to 16 per second. We can actually go ahead, and we've been avoiding this forever. I can upgrade each one of these. Now it requires 25K. I still have 1 million. So we can upgrade each of these. 30K, I can upgrade them again. I've been stockpiling these points, so. Might as well get it up to 8.5. So that puts my belt speed now at 16.99. So this belt system would be good up to 16.99. Looks like we already met that shape, so we're doing this crazy shape now. But it's keeping up. So the difference is this right here is a four layer make anything machine. Whereas my one over here, this was only 2 layers. It's much bigger, but it does produce 2 full belts of them, where this only produces 1 full belt. So I guess if I copied this down, it would still be a lot smaller. Then in order to make this 4 levels, I would have to copy this down, this whole thing down one more time, so it would take up all the way down into here probably. But I might do that, both of them. Once we get above the 16 per second, or I guess 16.99 per second, I'll have to institute this storage button here, or if I just click this, it'll stockpile them in storage for a little bit. We can take a look at the wire layer real quick again. So this is the main shape coming in. It unstacks, it sends this shape over to these 4 machines here, and it sends the rest of the stack down there. We just got to the next shape. So it's working pretty good. And this shape just comes down, it unstacks it one more time, sends that shape off, sends the rest of the shape down this way. And then this one here unstacks the last one. This one, since we only have 3 layers, there's nothing on this layer right now. So the bottom 4 machines are not getting anything. If we take a look at the storages down here, it's burning through a little bit of them as they need them, but they are all basically buffered up now, like as it uses white. It's restockpiling this because the previous shape used white, where this shape does not use white. So it works good that way. It's stockpiling the white again, so that if it needs it, it'll have extra of it. So that's how I'm able to get through with only 2 belts of color, because it's using the purple and blue right now, not using the white, but still making the white and stockpiling it. Burning through my storage units of purple because I don't have enough on the belt for it, because this shape is heavy on the purple. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different segments are purple. So I'm going to burn through a lot of segments. Hopefully the next shape isn't purple, and it'll give these storages back chance to fill back up. One thing I should do is I should add more of these filter checks in here. That would help clear out the system much faster, and they would produce the shapes, I think, a little bit faster and be more responsive, because it wouldn't be burning through pieces that it doesn't need. But that's going to do it for this episode. Let me know if you want to see some more, or which make anything machine you like better. This one looks more involved, and it's definitely more higher capacity. This one looks pretty simple. It's very organized. Doesn't use hardly any waste of shapes or colors. So that's going to do it for this episode. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.